Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of What Am I Listening To and Why. The format's the same. I'm going to take the last 6 vinyl LPs that I own, that I've listened to in the last couple of days, the last 6 albums, and I'm going to talk about each one for a couple of minutes about how I feel about them. The only difference is I'm going to give them a little score out of 10 at the end of each section. See what you think of that, whether it works or it doesn't. First up on the turntable right now, Goodbye Mr McKenzie, Scottish band from the 80s. I was never a huge fan or anything. To me they were like, I don't mean this horribly, but they were a sort of flash in the pan kind of thing. One minute they were here, the next minute they were gone. I went to see them at the Students' Union. The only thing I can remember about the gig is that the lights were good. They had little pin spots. So I didn't expect anything of this album. I thought it would be a bit... Actually, it's a lot better than... it's got some great, really good pop music on it, some really catchy songs, but I would describe the album at best as patchy good. Patchy good. It doesn't stay good all the way through. And it features John Duncan from The Exploited! Army! So that's always got to be a bonus. And Shirley Manson. I believe there was 3 albums. I've only heard this one. As I said, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. 1988, so it's got that 80s things going on. I'd say this was a solid 6. Number 2, and this is a, excuse me. Number 2 is a band that I only really ever I never got into them at all. I didn't understand why anybody liked them. It's Kraftwerk, and the album is 1978's Man Machine. Now, back in the 70s, even the 80s, even the 90s, I just kind of saw Kraftwerk as a bit of a joke. I just didn't get it. I mean, suddenly, it just sort of clicked with me. It may be something to do with Steve, but the whole thing just clicked with me, and I got it, and I ended up really, really loving it. This is I've got 2 Kraftwerk albums. I've got one from about 1973, which is a compilation, and nothing like this. It's all orchestral. But this is full-blown electronic, whatever you want to call it. This is actually, I love this record. This is a record that, genuine, of all the records I'm going to put on today, this is the one that as soon as I put it on, it puts me in a good mood. No matter what, it's very electronic, but it's also quite emotional. There's a track on here called Neon Lights, which is strangely moving. But yes, there's a lot of humour. There's a lot of bips and bops and calculators and all that kind of thing. But I love this record. As I say, I can't feel but to feel good every time I put it on. Kraftwerk, Man Machine from 1978. It is a 8.5, absolutely 8.5. Sticking with 1978 as we go into record number 3, and I'm gonna pull up a band which never seemed to get much love considering what they were. This is the Dictators' 3rd album, Blood Brothers. They're part of the whole New York scene. 1973, I think, is when they kicked off. Ramones, CBGBs, all of that fucking shit, but you never seem to hear much about the Dictators. And they've got the greatest named lead singer, Handsome Dick Manitoba, which I just love his fucking name. The classic album from them is The Dictators Go Crazy, which I have, which I'm not fucking crazy. I'm not going go crazy on that album. But this one, Blood Brothers, man, it's just got a real, I hate to say it, it's such a cheesy thing. This album rocks! But it really does. It's jam-packed full of fucking brilliant riffage, fucking brilliant choruses. And it's got Bruce Springsteen shouts the intro 1, 2, 3, 4 on the first track, faster and louder. That's the best bit of fucking recording Bruce Springsteen ever did, in my opinion. Absolutely fucking great. There's other albums, I don't know what they're like. I've got the 1st and the 3rd. The 3rd is the best. Blood Brothers. Produced by Sandy Pearlman, who did the Clash, Give 'Em Enough Rope. And it's that kind of production. It's fucking huge. And it rocks. This is a fucking... For this kind of thing, this is a fucking 9. Record number 4, we'll take a bit of a jump here. We're going back in time. This is about 1976. This is Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel and the album Love's a Prima Donna. Now, if the only thing you know about Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel is come up and see me sometime, make me smile, whatever, this ain't that. This is his last kind of decent output, I think, and it's way better than decent. It's really, really good. This is a kind of glam rock concept album, if you can imagine such a thing. It really is that. It's a fucking awful cover. I can't argue with that. But the music on here is incredibly clever, and you never know what it's going to do next. You know, yeah, it's not come and see me, make me smile, or any of the other hits. I don't think there was a hit record from this, but he's really fucking, Steve Harley's really pushing it on this, and I don't know what else to say about it. It's a 7.5. And if you don't have any Cockney Rebel albums, buy this one. Don't buy Praise Hits, please. This is this one. Okay. Record number 5. I don't even know where to begin with this. This is Crass. Stations of the Crass. How do I put Crass into 2 minutes? A sort of hippie commune collective of punk rockers and fucking convoy type dog on a string people, all living in a big house in Wales, shouting about anarchy all the time and creating these fucking terrifying records that I was, oh my god, back in the 80s, early 80s when this shit was coming out, man. I was a punk rocker, but I liked the Clash and the Sex Pistols and the Ramones. This was an anathema to me. I fucking hated it. I hated it. But I was wrong, because listening to it now, geez, oh, they were doing all this with no help from nobody. No airplay, no help, no record company, no nothing. Thank you, Crass. Thank you for making that fucking effort to build these fucking things. I mean, I really mean that. It's amazing. And they're incredibly arty now. Are they? It's weapons grade swearing. Who's live? Who's fucking live? Who the fuck are you talking to? Brilliant. Played this last night all the way through and I was incredibly moved by it, man. It just punches you right in the face, and it is what it is, and there's no apologies for it. It's the best. This is the best we could do at the time with what we had. Well done, Crass. Well done for taking fuck all and making it into a thing that went all over the world and was eventually discussed in the Houses of Parliament. There's a great documentary called There's No Authority But Ourselves on YouTube. Check that out if you want to know more about Crass. It's a fucking 10! It just is! We'll end on something a little bit lighter. This is number 6 of this week's choice. It's Prefab Sprout with their second LP, Steve McQueen, which I believe to be half of a masterpiece. I'd say this is the best side 1 in the history of pop. I love side 1 of this record, I love it! Side 2, meh. I know that's wrong, but I love side 1 of this album. Produced by Thomas Dolby, he was given 50 songs. I just read Thomas Dolby's book. Paddy McAloon, I can never say his name, McAloon, gave Thomas Dolby 50 songs and said there's 50 songs for the album, out of which they picked 10. And out of which 5 are fucking amazing. So it's 5 out of 50. It's not a great ratio, but hey, that's how I'm going to call it. I love the cover, harking to the old Steve McQueen motorbike with the Great Escape in mind and all that. Poor Paddy went blind. Who knew that was going to happen? But before he did, he wrote this album. Thomas Dolby, I think, did all the records. I don't really like any other Prefab Sprout albums. Side 1 of this is some of the brightest, cleverest, smartest pop music maybe ever made. Am I over-egging it? The lyrics are good too. It's a little bit 80s, but hey. Prefab Sprout, Steve McQueen. I don't know when this was made. 1989! No, I think it's a bit earlier than that. But yeah, it's great. This is a... fuck. It's hard to say because I'm not keen on side 2. I'm going to make it a solid 7. If it was just side 1, I would say it was a solid 9, but 7. thank you very much for watching this week's edition of, I was going to say Top of the Pops. I don't know why. I'm not on Top of the Pops. Not yet. Thank you for watching What Am I Listening To and Why. I'll be back next week with another 6 records that I genuinely have just played and just listened to. See you then. Take care. Mwah!